My name is Laura. I am sitting down to tell this story with mixed feelings and my fingers are shaking slightly. This is an experience that I have buried deep in my heart for a long time and have never told anyone, not even my closest girlfriend. But now I feel that this depression in my heart urgently needs an outlet. Perhaps sharing it can give me some relief. It was a sunny but destined to be an extraordinary summer. My sister and brother-in-law planned to go out for a trip to relax their tired body and mind. They found me and hoped that I could help take care of their 17-year-old nephew Alex for a few days. Alex has always been a lively and clever child. Being with him can always make people forget their troubles and be full of laughter, so I agreed without hesitation. The first days were as relaxed and happy as any previous gathering. I took Alex to see the art exhibition he had long admired. We strolled in the art gallery and listened to him talk endlessly about his views on each painting. His eyes sparkled, and he looked so cute. We would also curl up on the sofa together, eat popcorn, watch various interesting movies, and laugh when we encountered funny plots, as if the whole world was only filled with our laughter. However, I never expected that the calm lake would soon set off a storm, and a storm that could subvert my life was quietly brewing. That afternoon, Alex told me that he was going to meet his classmates at a nearby park to play basketball together. I smiled and nodded, watching him go out full of energy, and secretly felt fortunate to have a moment of quiet time for myself. I returned to the bedroom, turned on the soft music, leaned against the head of the bed, and prepared to read a novel that I had always wanted to read but had no time to read. The sun shone through the gauze curtains of the window, casting mottled light and shadows, and everything seemed so comfortable. But fate always seems to like to play cruel jokes. Just when I was immersed in the wonderful plot of the novel, the bedroom door was suddenly knocked open with a loud bang. I looked up in horror and almost dropped the book in my hand. I saw Alex standing at the door, his face pale, his hair on his forehead soaked with sweat, and his eyes full of panic and shock. "Laura, I forgot to bring my wallet. I came back to get it," he stammered, his voice trembling. But from his wandering eyes, I clearly realized that things were not that simple. The room fell into a dead silence in an instant, with only our rapid breathing intertwined. I felt as if my heartbeat missed a beat and asked in a panic, "Alex, why did you come in without knocking?" I tried to cover up my embarrassment with anger and hurriedly tidied up the messed up quilt. Alex stood there, motionless, just staring at me, his cheeks slightly flushed, and he stammered, "I'm sorry, Laura, I didn't mean it, He hesitated, his eyes revealing an indescribable complex emotion, which made me more uneasy. I suppressed my inner panic, tried to calm myself down, looked straight into his eyes, and said seriously, "Alex, what's going on? You have to tell me the truth." My voice unconsciously raised a few points with unquestionable majesty. Alex took a deep breath, as if he had mustered up great courage, and slowly said, "This may sound ridiculous, Laura, but today in the park, I accidentally heard several classmates talking about you." His voice was very low, but it was like a heavy bomb exploding in my ears. I widened my eyes and looked at him in disbelief. "Talking about me? What did they say?" I felt my scalp tingling and cold sweat on my palms. Alex's face flushed red. He lowered his head, avoiding my gaze, and hesitated for a moment before saying, "I don't know the details either. They said it very vaguely, but it seems that someone saw some photos of you and is still spreading them." His words were like a sharp blade, piercing my heart again and again. My head buzzed, and in an instant, everything went blank and I felt dizzy. "What photos?" "Alex, tell me!" I screamed uncontrollably, holding his arm tightly with both hands, as if it was my only lifeline at the moment. Alex gently broke free from my hand, took out his phone, swiped the screen a few times with trembling fingers, and then handed the phone to me. There was a blurry thumbnail of the photo on the screen, and he didn't click it. Laura, I think you'd better not look at it. It may make you more uncomfortable. Maybe someone deliberately wants to hurt you. His voice was a little choked. I looked at the small picture, and an inexplicable fear surged in my heart. I knew that this matter had far exceeded my imagination. If someone really took a malicious photo of me and spread the photos wantonly, my life would be in an irreparable situation. I collapsed on the bed, covering my face with my hands, trying to calm myself down. After a moment, I looked up and looked at Alex with a firm look in my eyes. Alex, you must tell me everything you know. We have to find a way to solve this problem together. My tone was unquestionable. Alex nodded heavily and said, "Okay, Laura, I know this is serious, but we can't hide it from everyone. We have to tell our parents and let them help." Hearing the word parents, my heart suddenly tightened. If my sister and brother-in-law knew about this, what would they think? They would be extremely disappointed in me. "No!" I blurted out, my voice almost roaring. "We can't tell them now. We have to find out what's going on first and don't let them worry." I tried to convince Alex and myself at the same time. Alex looked at me. A hint of hesitation flashed in his eyes, but he finally nodded. "Okay, Laura, I'll listen to you. I just don't want to see you get hurt." From that moment on, there seemed to be a subtle, tacit understanding and tacit trust between Alex and me. On the days when my sister and brother-in-law came back, we tried to pretend that nothing had happened and laughed and played as usual. But whenever our eyes met, I could see the concern and worry in his eyes, and an indescribable warmth would surge in my heart. As time passed quietly, Alex's concern for me became more and more obvious. He would send me messages from time to time to ask about my recent situation. "Laura, are you doing well today? Have you encountered any troubles?" At first, I thought it was just his sense of responsibility for the previous incident, but gradually, I found myself looking forward to his news. Every time my phone vibrated and I saw his name, I would feel an inexplicable joy in my heart. This feeling made me both scared and fascinated. I kept telling myself that he was my nephew and I couldn't have such feelings. One night, my husband went on a business trip and I was the only one left in the empty house. Outside the window, the rain was falling, hitting the glass, making a dull sound, as if it was also knocking on my uneasy heart. At this moment, the phone screen suddenly lit up. It was a message from Alex. "Laura, I'm so confused. Can I come to talk to you?" Seeing this message, my heart trembled suddenly. I hesitated for a long time. My finger hovered on the screen several times and finally replied, "Come on." Not long after, the doorbell rang hurriedly. I took a deep breath and got up to open the door. Alex stood at the door, soaked, rain dripping down his hair, his eyes revealing helplessness and confusion. "Laura, I really don't know what to do." As soon as he entered the door, he threw himself into my arms and burst into tears. I patted his back in panic and comforted him softly. "Alex, don't cry. Tell me slowly if you have anything to say." At that moment, I forgot all my worries and only felt distressed for him in my heart. When he calmed down a little, Alex looked up at me and said with tears in his eyes, "I heard those classmates talking about you again today. What they said was getting worse and worse. I couldn't help but quarrel with them. I don't want anyone to hurt you, Laura, you know." His eyes were full of stubbornness and determination. My heart was warmed and my eyes were wet. "Alex, thank you, but you shouldn't quarrel with them. What if you hurt yourself?" I was moved and worried. Alex shook his head and said, "I'm not afraid. I just can't stand them talking about you like that. Laura, I have been thinking about this for a while. We can't just sit there and wait for death. We have to find out the mastermind behind it and make them pay the price." He clenched his fists and showed an angry look on his face. I nodded and said, "Okay, Alex, let's find a way together, but you must not be impulsive. Let me handle this matter. You just need to study hard and don't let these things affect you." I tried to comfort him, and at the same time I was thinking about what to do next. Since then, Alex has come to see me almost every day, and we discussed how to find clues and how to deal with possible situations. In the process, our relationship became closer, and the kind of emotion that transcends family affection also grew quietly without us noticing. Sometimes we would stay up late to look up information together, and when we were sleepy, we would snuggle up to each other on the sofa to take a nap. Sometimes we would argue over a small clue until our faces turned red, but in the blink of an eye, we would smile at each other and make up as before. However, the truth will eventually come out. One evening, my sister and brother-in-law ended their trip early and returned home. When they saw Alex and I sitting together, discussing something seriously, and the table was piled with various documents and materials, they showed a puzzled look on their faces. "What are you doing?" my sister asked, with a hint of vigilance in her eyes. Alex and I looked at each other, and I was flustered. I tried to make up an excuse. "Oh, we were discussing a school project, and Alex encountered some problems and asked me to help with some reference." I tried to make my voice sound more natural, but I knew that my acting was really bad. My brother-in-law looked at us, then at the things on the table, and didn't say anything, but I could feel that his doubts were not eliminated. At night, lying in bed, I tossed and turned and couldn't sleep, thinking about what happened during the day. I knew that my sister and brother-in-law had begun to suspect, and we had to speed up and solve this problem before they found out the truth. Otherwise, once the matter was exposed, not only would my reputation be ruined, but it would also bring great harm to the whole family. The next day, I decided to take the initiative and find those who had talked about me to understand the situation. I went to the park that Alex often went to alone and found those classmates. When they saw me, they showed surprise and panic on their faces. "Why are you talking about me? Who took those photos?" I asked straight to the point, with anger in my eyes. The students looked at each other and hesitated for a long time. One of them whispered, We also heard it from others. We don't know the details. We just know that it seems to be a person outside the school who often hangs around here." I was disappointed. I thought I could get some useful clues from them, but I didn't expect this result. But I didn't give up and continued to ask, "Have you seen that person? Or do you know some characteristics about him?" They shook their heads and said, "No, we really don't know." I sighed helplessly and turned to leave. At this moment, I suddenly found a person standing there stealthily not far away, holding a camera in his hand, facing me. I was moved. Could this person be the mastermind we have been looking for? I didn't have time to think about it and ran towards the person. When the person saw me chasing him, he turned around and ran away in panic. I chased him desperately, with only one thought in my mind, that I must catch him and not let him hurt me again. During the chase, I accidentally fell and scraped a large piece of skin on my knee, and blood was flowing. But I didn't care about the pain. I struggled to get up and continued to chase forward. Just when I was about to catch up with the man, suddenly a hand grabbed me. I looked back and saw that it was Alex. He panted and said, "Laura, don't chase me. You are injured, let me do it." After that, he let go of my hand and ran towards the man. I stood there, looking at Alex's back, feeling touched and worried. Not long after, Alex came back with the man. The man was so scared that his face turned pale and kept begging for mercy. "Tell me, why did you secretly take pictures of Laura?" Alex asked with his eyes wide open. The man trembled and said, I was instructed by someone. Someone gave me a sum of money to take her pictures and then upload them to the internet." "Who instructed you?" Alex and I asked in unison. The man hesitated and said, I don't know that person. I only know that she is a woman with a young voice." Alex and I looked at each other, full of doubts. Who on earth hated me so much that he would do such a thing to me? After returning home, we told my sister and brother-in-law what happened. After hearing it, they were shocked and angry and decided to call the police to let the police handle the matter. While waiting for the police to arrive, I was uneasy, not knowing how this matter would end. The police came soon, they learned the situation in detail and took away the person and related evidence. In the following days, Alex and I have been cooperating with the police investigation, hoping to find out the real culprit behind the scenes as soon as possible. As the investigation deepened, the truth gradually surfaced. It turned out that the person who instructed the person to secretly take pictures of me was actually a former colleague of mine. She was jealous of my achievements at work and wanted to retaliate against me, so she came up with such a despicable method. When I learned of this result, I was angry and helpless. I didn't expect that my usual kindness would cause such resentment. The matter was finally resolved, and my life gradually returned to peace. However, the special feeling between Alex and I can never go back. After going through this storm, we cherish each other more. Although we both know that this kind of emotion is not tolerated by the world, we still can't control our hearts. Whenever it's late at night, I will think of the thrilling days I spent with Alex, and my heart is both sweet and bitter. I know that we must learn to let go and return to our own life tracks, but the emotion deeply engraved in my heart can never be erased. Now, I look at the sunshine outside the window and pray silently in my heart, hoping that Alex can live a happy life. And I also hope that I can have the courage to face the future life, bury this past deep in my heart, and let it become the most special memory in my life.